All right, welcome back. This is still the Energy Outlook live from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo. Our conversation now is on enabling access to clean cooking. And if you're just joining, I give a proper background to what we are discussing today. But my guest, to make us make sense of this conversation on enabling access to clean cooking, is CEO of Power Stove, Mr. Okey, Esse. My guest is a has revolutionized clean cooking across Africa, developing 1 million plus IoT enabling cook stoves in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and Cameroon. These stoves reduce indoor air pollution by 90%, saves 15,000 plus metric tons of firewood annually, and employ a pay-as-you-go cook model. This is a lot, but we'll break it down for us, I promise you. Mr. Okey says my guest, CEO, Power Stove Energy. Mr. Okey, can you hear me clearly?
Definitely, I can hear you clearly. Thank you so much, Patrick.
All right, welcome to the program, and it's good to have you sincerely. Such an effort you've made and so much work within the sector you've been working on. And I indeed want to commend you. I remember when you came in back then for your first funding, I think at the time, and see how far you've come with all the funds you've received. Congratulations and kudos to you for all the work you continue to do. But today,
Thank you.
help us when we say cook stove. Many may not want to understand clearly. So first, what do you mean by cook stove? Do you want to break that down for us? Cook stove, what does it mean?
Thank you so much. Like the name sounds, cook stove. It means that it's a stove that's majorly used for household cooking, and that's what it means. But when you add clean cook stove, it means that the stove that is going to be used in the household will not release toxic emissions. It will not release smoke, and it will not also stain the pot. So that's when we now talk about the clean in the cook stove.
Now, let's get into the conversation main now. What are the main social and economic and infrastructure barriers, first of all?
Okay.
Because when you look at many homes, when I travel and I go back home, in fact, many people, when they go back home, firewood as a way of cooking is still a thing. How are you making sure that many people understand what clean cooking is? Do you think we have proper publicity around clean cooking?
If I take it the three areas you highlighted, social, economic, and infrastructure, I would say that not much is being done in terms of educating the target market, who are definitely the households. And that is why there's a social issue that is also hindering the adoption of clean cook stove. At the communal level, where, let me put it, 9 out of 10 households still use either charcoal, firewood, or a mix of it with agri waste to cook. It's not as if they don't like a good life, to have a stove that will not cause them troubles. But cooking is traditionally part of our culture. So when you try to tell them that, okay, what your ancestors have been doing and passed down to you is going to kill you, most of them will laugh at that statement. So there's a lot education that need to be done at the communal level to be able to increase adoption. That's one leg of it. And another leg of it is technology. Technology need to be at the nexus if we want to scale access to clean cooking. What do I mean? Um, Clean cooking is one of the industries where there is market need. Any business you want to go into, they always ask you, is there a need in the market? The need in the clean cook stove is scaring us in the face. But the question is, if there's market need, then why are they not adopting the technology, the clean cook stove? I think that is where technology needs to come into play. What do I mean? Technology needs to reduce the barrier on clean cook stove adoption. Clean cook stove is quite expensive to traditional open fire cook stove, which is just taking three stones and putting it together and setting it ablaze and cook. So when you tell a family that survives on less than $2 per day to spend $25 to $30 or up to $50 to acquire a clean cook stove, then they start asking you, why would they do that when the alternative is almost $0? Another thing also you mentioned is about infrastructure. So when there is a social barrier based on culture, I mentioned, there's economic barrier in acquiring it. Then the infrastructure is when you talk about access roads to be able to go to these communities, to educate them. We also to offer them pay as you cook, which we pioneered in the industry, allowing them to pay over time. And then because there's no access road, the cost will be increased. So if, for example, what they call customer acquisition cost will take me maybe 200 naira to sell a cook stove, then because there's no good road, the terrains are bad, then the cost will now increase to like 500 naira. And as a business, this cost is also transferred to the last mile.
Exactly.
So these are one of the most of the reasons why access to clean cook stove is a challenge still in Nigeria.
Mm. The last time I refilled my cylinder, I spent about 16,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken, 16 or 17,000 naira to refill my cylinder. Those of us who use LPG, and what have you, what is sort of the difference with your solution at Power Stove?
Okay. When it comes to power stove, with all humility, I'll say power stove remains the best, and I'll explain why. When you talk about LPG, safety comes first. People like, I don't want explosion. And power stove drop test, drop it from 1 foot table, 1 meter table to the ground, it will never explode. We'll build it like that. The burn chamber will cut off the smoke, the flame, then it will smoke. So that's one advantage. Second advantage is economics. I love that you mentioned the 16,000, though that will be an outdated figure because I know now in Lagos is refilling 12.5 kg cylinder is higher. But let's work with 16,000. If you use 16,000 and you are using power stove, 16,000 can actually give you, for a family of 5, 6 months of cooking minimum. If you cook morning, afternoon, and night, you can
What?
see, yes. If you cook, so because Lagosians don't cook afternoon because they're out hustling, that means you can actually get up to 8 months with 16,000 if you spend it on what we call pellets, which also power stove produce. Then another advantage is that we built power stove to also reward users. This is something that also pioneered in the industry. What does it mean? It means that we pay our users for using our product. So, and it's cash. It's not like in kind. So when you use power stove and you are consistent every month, you use a minimum of 20 kg and you use it consistently, then we'll pay you. Some people earn 20,000, 25,000 every year for using power stove. So I don't know when last or if you've been paid for using your LPG cook stove.
Nobody
Uh,
send me. No,
so
no,
so these are the things.
but seriously. So I use the
Yeah,
12.5 kg
yeah.
cylinder. I think, but I just checked my record now. The last refill was 19,500 to be exact. And you're saying that your own cook stove, if I spend that amount, I can use that for 8 months or more than.
Exactly, exactly,
How is that
exactly.
possible?
Yes. How is possible is that when we started building Pastor, and I'm happy that you also part of our history. You understood our history very well. We wanted to be different, and when you want to be different in the industry, you need to work twice as harder compared to your competitors. We wanted to be different. That we want to build a stove that will not use charcoal or firewood or biofuel. So when we researched, we saw that, okay, Nigeria has an unimaginable million tons of sawdust as waste generated every day. You can know that around the Butemeta area, you can see a lot of sawdust there. And there is no value we add to it, except the poultry people comes and, take theirs as much as they can. the rest is set ablaze. So give and take, when you set it ablaze, it releases methane, which is also very harmful to the environment. So we figured out how we can use sawdust and post-harvest crop waste. Post-harvest crop waste like palm kernel shell, rice husk, to blend it together and also produce the pellets. Now, the pellets now, because we use waste to be able to produce these, the cost is also very low. And we also make sure that it is sold at a very affordable prices. For example, a 10 kg can sell on average 3,000 naira anywhere in Nigeria, whether in Lagos or in Sokoto or in Maiduguri or in Enugu. The maximum you can buy it at 3,000. That 10 kg can take you up to 3 weeks. And you can see that you're using 3,000 for 3 weeks. It can't compare with any other cooking fuel.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so now, but the main issue many may have in their minds, just like me, is how accessible is this power stove that you have with this pallet? I'm not sure I've gone on the road before or any store and I see them selling it, but I'm shockingly I see that you've deployed 1 million of it.
Yeah.
So how is access to it exactly?
Yeah. What we asked ourselves is, do we want to be on everybody's face and we'll sell it high because it's a business. Any cost we incurred to bring it to you will be also included into what you are going to pay. So if you come to Lagos and run 20 billboard adverts, that's like you're talking about maybe 10 million every month. Those costs will be transferred to the final user. Okay. So we had to trade off that and go what they call below the line marketing. So below the line marketing is we go house to house, we onboard people at the communal level who take it and they know where they are taking it to. So if you buy, we already have your address. So we point people to you. Apart from that, we also use the brick and mortar shop. We have outlets in Bariga in Lagos. We have in 10 cities, shops outlets in 10 cities in Nigeria. So people who buy from us, we give them lists of where they can buy it. The third one is they can also buy online on our website. So you order it from our website and you have it delivered. So we try as much as possible to lower the cost at which we can be able to bring the pellets to our users instead of doing traditional media and marketing channels.
Okay. And that has been working, reason why you have 1 million deployment already. Is that correct?
Exactly. It has been working effectively. We also we have in the pipeline within the first quarter of next year to set up 10 assembly factories. The machines are already ready. We're doing it in conjunction with our partners. That will be 5 factories in the north, 5 factories in the south. Definitely one is coming to Lagos. So what we are doing that is that for after sales support, because when you have a lot of these stoves in people's houses, you also need to find a way in case there is need for repair, in case there's any need for them to ask questions, to troubleshoot or anything, and they always have a place to take their stove to.
We go on a quick break, Mr. Okey. When we come back, I have a few more questions. Like I see, first of all, that it is IoT enabled. Your power stove is IoT enabled. What does that mean? What does it do? So let's go on a quick break. When we come back, you take that question and we'll move on. Please stay with me.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for staying with me. This is still the Energy Outlook Live, and I have my guest, Mr. Okey, Esse, who is talking to us. He's CEO of Power Stove Energy, and we have been discussing enabling access to clean cooking. Mr. Okey, now you said this Power Stove that you have is IoT enabled, and you've been able to deploy across Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and Cameroon. This is huge, but tell me first, when you say IoT enabled, what does it mean? Does it mean I can control the cook stove from anywhere I am to check if my food is ready, and so I can just turn it off? Is that what it's doing?
Okay, not that really. What happened was that when we started this, we envisaged that a time will come that we'll have a lot of these cook stoves in the household, and we need to know the status of the cook stove, whether it's in use, how long it's being used, and if it's not in use, what are the reasons? Did it travel or you don't like it? So we need those data. And that was the primary reason why we went into IoT. But later on, as we keep increasing the features, we now saw that, okay, this IoT is going to be a game changer in the carbon market. So what the IoT does in a nutshell is plugged into a cook stove, and it gives us actionable data that we translate and monetize in the voluntary carbon market. So a cook stove can generate up to $90, depending on the market and the type of the buyer we're able to secure. So that helps us to lower the cost of producing cook stove vis-a-vis the retail price of the cook stove, which increase adoption. So you can see how the IoT becomes an enabler into accessing clean cook stove.
Amazing. Technology doing amazing things. But Mr. Okey, across the world today, the data shows us that over 2.3 billion people still cook with firewood, charcoal, or kerosene. Now, you are doing amazing work, and it's not been an easy one, at least for the last 5 years or 4 years, if I can recall vividly, and from when I was very aware of your first, investment, at the time. What can we do? 2.3 billion people is a huge number. I'm sure if we narrow that number to Nigeria, we'll also be in shock. Already in Nigeria, nearly 80 million Nigerians don't have access to energy in itself. This may now include clean cooking on its own. If we narrow those figures down to clean cooking, there's a huge number there. What can we do? You've been able to achieve quite a substantial progress, but it seems like you may not be able to take the entire market. What do you think we can do as a country to be able to give more support to ensure that there's a transition to clean cooking? I mean, in the urban areas like Lagos and Abuja, I'm sure many homes now, the use of LPG has been adopted, cooking gas and all of that. But it's quite expensive. Like I said, I spent 19,500 just early this October to refill my gas cylinder. I keep record of it. I have all the record from January till now, because I want to see, how much I'm spending. As an energy person, that is normal for me. But my question to you, is what can we really do? Is it policy? What can government do? Sector-wise, what can players do? What do you think can support more of the work that people like you are doing so we can have, more of our people transition to clean cooking?
All right, thank you. This question, the solution is simple.
Okay.
But because it looks simple, people are not taking it serious. Let me explain how.
Tell me.
The 90% of nature-based carbon projects globally, 90% of it happens in Africa. What does that mean? Carbon projects like tree planting, forest degradation, forest restoration, 90% of it, the carbon happens in Nigeria. But the money that comes from this exercise activities to be able to protect and make our environment safer, 90% of that fund move to the global north. When you talk about Europe and North America, only 10% stays in Africa. So what we need to do is to flip the coin. Now, the global north needs carbon credit, whether in voluntary market or in the compliance market, to be able to either cut the emission or at most be able to do what they call cap and trade. And what it means is that there is a huge market need for carbon credit in the global north. While Africa as a whole, as a continent, contributes less than 4% to global emissions, but we suffer it most. So what we are now saying is that the solution is that the global north that are primarily polluting the environment, causing climate change, which is leading to flooding that we experience lately in Nigeria, should be able to finance clean cook stoves in Africa by what they call EPA agreement, emission reduction purchase agreement. So see EPA agreement like giving somebody a credit line. So once they finance that, companies like Power Stove and others can be able to access a lot of liquidity to produce this cook stove because it has been pre-financed. If a cook stove is costing, for example, 30,000 naira, that cook stove can actually cost less than 10,000 naira because someone has already pre-financed it. So there's no risk for me as a company to be able to buy raw materials and produce it. So, but there's a problem. See the problem. The global north are ready to do this because there's already almost 1 billion people in Africa that's exposed to indoor air pollution. But there's a trust issue. They don't trust our people that when they give them this money, they can be able to produce this cook stove and also distribute it to the communities or the households that should be using it. And that is where the IoT is what is solving the problem. So the IoT is at the center, the nexus to be able to fix this trust issue. Because the IoT will tell you the location the stove is, the time the stove is in use, and the total number it has been used, the level of emissions it has been saved, mitigated, or avoided. And also, you can also use it to reward the users, which is what we do. So Nigeria currently is trying to complete their framework on the carbon credit framework. So if that is resolved, then Nigeria can actually issue what they call letter of authority, LOA. Then that will help companies like Power Stove to go to Europe and secure $15–20 million to build plain cook stove to distribute in Nigeria and also across other countries because to generate money. So this is another way to be able to access funding, produce cook stove, distribute it at almost $1 price, and make sure that people use it.
If I buy the cook stove and I live in now one very rural community somewhere, maybe in Pesu community in Delta State somewhere,
Yes.
How do I get the pallets?
Yes. What we've done is that we create clusters in communities where people can actually walk towards the sales hub. So because if we want to do large-scale distribution, for example, we ensure that first we go in there to identify active women we on board as salespeople, as sales ambassadors. We also look at brick and mortar shop that are selling a provision store, grocery store within those places. Those becomes where we are going to train and on board as our last mile agents that you can also from those communities come and buy. Another thing also that we tell people who are in the city who have aged parents and they want to support their aged parents to also to live longer by enjoying clean cooking, ensure that there's no smoke that causes a lot of health issues. We tell them that, okay, weighing 50 kg of pellets, a 50 kg of pellet, they can use it for a minimum of 2 months. So in that way, you are sure that you don't give them a stove or a cooker that will give them issues about explosion or risk that comes with it. So we've seen people who are in the cities, like as we are in Lagos, who also buys and also either gifts to their aged parents or also gifts for people in their homes. Then from the cities, we can also waive you. Remember that the cost is also very affordable. So it's
Affordable,
something I
how
want
much?
to.
How much is the cook stove?
Okay, the cook stove, we have 22 different models. We built it in that way because there's institutional, commercial, and household cook stoves. At the household cook stove, we have 12 different models planned for different household size. So if you're like a bachelor, you can go with the one of 25,000. But if you're a newly married couple, you can go for 30,000. If it's a house of five members, 45,000 is the best because it has more intense. Or let me give you in context. Gas cooker burns at a temperature of between 1,100 and 1,300 degrees. That's gas cooker using butane and propane as gas. But power stove burns at 1,500. So it means that you cook your food faster with a lesser quantity of fuel. So that is how we promise people that it can also save. So we have different variants depending on household size and also cooking preference. Those in the city, their preference on cook stove might be different at those at the rural level because their pots shape and sizes are different. So we factor those things when we are building a power stove model.
Did you also factor like design wise? For example, I use the 4 burner standing gas cooker. Makes my kitchen look nice. If I buy power stove now, it may not have that effigy, as we say it, in my
Yes,
kitchen. Did you consider
yes,
design when you were producing?
exactly. Exactly. We consider design from 3 years back. We started considering design after we were successful with the function. So we moved into the design and the making it beautiful. We have a stove that people hardly believe is a cook stove because it's can to actually charge your phone, generate electricity for you, and also enable you to cook. Very fantastic and very beautiful cook stove, which we call X200. So we factor those things in. We also have T100, which looks very beautiful. People, in fact, people in the cities prefer the model that we call T100. It's a fast moving product within the cities.
I see on your website the X200 is around 220,000. Mr. Okay,
Yes.
I don't have money. Oh. We don't have money in this country, Mr. Okay. Where will I see 220,000, please?
Okay, let me explain for you. See that stove as I pass my neighbor's generator with a cook stove because it generates electricity for you. So when you have it, you don't bother about power cuts. So your kitchen becomes your generator.
So
So
I,
it
I
has
can
those features.
disconnect from band A once I have this.
Yes, you can disconnect and have electricity from there. So the more features, the more is more expensive.
Let's talk about more importantly now the issue of health. We see
Yeah.
the report from World Health Organization what the charcoal and kerosene or the traditional way of cooking is doing to women and our children, which of course we know are mostly, direct, to some of these issues. How is Power Stove solving this issue now around health? In some of your market campaigns, and what are you seeing as feedback, or what are some of the success stories you've been able to record as per trying to, solve this issue of health, which is a fact. Personally, if I go near firewood, I have issues with my eyes personally. So even when they are doing the suya and all of that, the reason why probably I don't like suya, anyways, I can't even go close because the smoke and the fire, once it gets to my eye, it's a problem. So it can be the same with many other people. What are some of the success stories you can share with us around the issue of health when we talk about clean cooking?
Okay, well, on the issue of health, Power Stove users will feel the difference almost immediately. From the first day you use Power Stove, you spot the difference, because one is you will not see smoke. So people keep wondering, where did the smoke go? Two is that you will not see any toxic emission. You will not feel it like carbon monoxide. When you cook with charcoal in a closed environment, you can actually feel the carbon monoxide, which is very deadly, which can lead to death. Power Stove have always been able to remove those toxic emissions. So health-wise, from day one, users feels the difference. That is on the usage side. Another thing also we've done in terms of health, which is on the supply side, is that most of our waste are supplied by women. And these women are onboarded, trained, then they earn cash and the health insurance. So in as much as they are from at the base of the pyramid, people who survive on less than $2 per day, we know that accessing affordable healthcare is also a challenge for them. So we had to integrate access to micro health insurance for them, to allow them to be able to visit the nearest hospital that is within the jurisdiction of the areas we are covering, to have those free health checks. That's what we've done on the supply side. So when people use Power Stove, they are guaranteed that even if you have issues with asthma or breathing problem, you can actually use Power Stove indoors, and there will be no issues. We have people testify to that.
So this issue, constant fear of explosion with the usual gas cylinders, will not be something we'll experience with this your model of Power Stove.
100% sure. What we've done is that when we designed our pellet, we ensure that the pellet on its own is not flammable. So it must need a catalyst to ignite. So when you leave pellets in your kitchen and there is a naked fire, it will not attract it. So safety is paramount to us. So we ensure that users feel safe using our product.
Yeah. All right. Finally, as we wrap up gradually, how can clean cooking be integrated into our national energy transition plan? I don't know if you've had the time to go through Nigeria's energy transition plan. Are you encouraged that clean cooking was included? Maybe if there are strategies there that you feel like, of course, will enable a climate change strategy for sustainable energy. I don't know if you have had time to look at it at all, but if you haven't, generally, what is the mood of the country itself as per strategy in energy towards clean cooking? Are you confident that we're on the right path?
I'm very confident we're on the right path. I've seen the document, fantastic document developed. What that is remaining from my own observation is on implementation. More need to be done to ensure that what the policy says is implemented holistically, because it captures it captures the reality on the ground that there is problem in terms of access to clean energy, and is also provide some solutions, fantastic solutions that there's also going to be deductions from statutory deductions from the local government to the state government and also some key ministries. Those funds will help to finance access to cook stove. Fantastic. But the everything is about implementation. So we look forward to holistic implementation of that policy.
Okay. So before I let you go, just tell us, just in case we need to find you, all the amazing things you said today. Someone watching and say, how do I connect with this guy? I mean, how do I get access to this in the first place? So quickly, how can anyone find you?
Okay, finding us is very easy. Well, our website is powerstove.africa. That's our website. And also on the website, there's also an e-commerce section. Should in case you see anyone that matches, your test. Another thing is also is that in less than 2 weeks, we'll be in Lagos International Trade Fair. We have both the indoor and outdoor stand, so we'll be very visible for those in Lagos. And our social media platform is always at Pasto. We are on Twitter, which is X, Facebook, Instagram, and also we're active on YouTube. So these are areas you can actually see us.
All right, Mr. Okey, thank you so much. It's been an insightful conversation. Like I said earlier, I followed your work a lot,
Thank
and
you so much.
you've done so well with this initiative. I'm not sure where investment is at for you now. How much have you been able to raise so far? How much investment have you put in so far? And is it that easy? How is the investment space for your work you do? Have
Um,
there been changes or improvement, or you still have some barriers and bottlenecks?
Fundraising is always having a teaching issue, but well, you need to persist. That's I think is common in most industries. We've done above 2 million USD in fundraising, and we're scaling. Now, what we are doing is project financing. So our partners finances project. So someone can come and say, okay, in Delta State, I want to do 50,000 cook stoves. So they pre-finance it. That helps us to also ensure that the communities doesn't buy stoves that is worth 45,000. They can buy it at 15,000 or 12,000 because someone have already
So
paid.
you can
That.
produce at scale. So if a
Exactly.
government comes and say, oh, we need like 100,000 cook stove, you can supply.
You can do it in 1 week.
Mr. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. It's been an
Thank you so
interesting
much.
conversation, and we wish you all the best. We'll continue to follow your
Thank you.
work, and we hope
Thank you so
that we
much.
want to see more of you help us with this issue of enabling access to clean cooking. It's a big issue. We can save quite a lot of. Like I said, I spent 19,500 to refill my gas cylinder. That's a lot of money,
Yeah,
and I can imagine homes and families who may not be able to afford it, and the health hazard
exactly.
itself is a lot. So we need to see people transition to clean cooking, and it's good to hear that this is at scale, which you can do this at scale, and it's not just at the testing phase anymore, and which
It's
is
true.
good because the next thing, yeah, I mean, many will be on someone's mind will be, oh, hope he can make a large quantity if we need to, really supply this at scale so that we can see more people transition gradually. Thank you so much. We hope to have you
Thank
back
you.
soon in the future to know how
All
this is
right.
going.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yes. All right. We've been talking to Mr. Okey, Esse, who is the CEO of Power Stove Energy, who has shared some very, very useful insights and on enabling access to clean cooking. Before we go on the show, I'm going to leave you with this quote. It says, energy access is not just about powering homes. It's about unlocking potential, creating jobs, improving healthcare, and driving inclusive growth. This quote is by Damilola Ogumbi, CEO and a special rep of the UN Secretary General for Sustainable Energy for All, Esse for All. And this quote sort of wraps up all we have spoken about today. It's not just about powering homes. It's more about improving healthcare, creating jobs, and driving inclusive growth. I hope you learned something new in this conversation today, and I hope that you also consider how can my home transition to a proper and better, cost-effective, affordable clean cooking. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo. You can follow me across all social media platforms at WChapJumbo. Let's keep the conversation going. In case you miss any of our episodes, you can catch it on our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Watch, and there's so much to learn on every episode you may have missed. Thank you for staying with me. Have a lovely weekend. Stay blessed and enjoy yourself. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.